We live in a time of radical changes, and we want people of our time to see what life was like in former years. I mean, things have changed so much over the last 50 years that nowadays young people don't know anymore what life was like 50 years ago or 100 years ago. And that is why we preserve this building here. At that time, 17th and 18th centuries, poorer people also wanted to be up to date, however could not afford the Baroque style. But what makes this look like Baroque? You see those circle windows, which are part of Baroque buildings, which are richly decorated. And this is what they could afford. They did not want to have normal windows, so they preferred those 4 little windows. The roof also is a very special one. We call that Walmdach because it has that front piece which makes it different from the rest of the roofs. This is the so-called black kitchen. It's called black because of the black ceiling, which is black because of the smoke. It is an old barrel vaulting. To the left of the oven is a relatively small cooking place where they fixed meals on open fire. Open fire was quite normal at that time. And open fire? Down there? Yes, all right. Okay. And of course, it was absolutely unhealthy being exposed to that smoke.
Down here?
No, that's where they made the fire.
And to make bread inside?
To make bread inside. In order to make bread, he uses wood, or that type of wood, and he heats up the interior. Okay. And then he sweeps out the ashes and makes this very clean. Yes. And then he puts in the bread. Oh. And if you have a closer look, you will see this looks like, if you look inside, that is why we have installed this lamp here. Yes. This looks like a loaf of bread, and it still works perfectly. This is the place where the baker and the miller worked. It looks kind of cozy and nice now, but when it was a working place, it was a tough and hard place. This is the so-called large room. It looks like a living room, but it was not a living room. Over there is a wonderful crucifix made of wood in the so-called Herrgottswinkel, a German word means every house has got a cozy corner for the family to sit in the evenings, and that symbol of Christianity is normally always placed in that corner. On the wooden ceiling hangs a glass box with the signs of the bakers. If you have a closer look, this is a saw, indicating that this building was owned by someone working wood. At that time, they all had symbols showing the people entering the building what kind of person they were confronted with. The wooden ceiling, which was made in about 1600, imagine 1600, 400 years ago. It has a beautiful so-called rosette, also worth looking at. You see, this is kind of art of the peasants. In this room there are 3 shafts leading to 3 mill wheels which the mill used to have. Nowadays only 1 is running. With the 3 wheels they could grind different sorts of grain. This was also a very long procedure with this little thing shaking, dividing flour from the material they did not need anymore. There is a little children's song, Es klappert die Mühle am rauschenden Bach. That means the mill is constantly making monotonously the same sound. With that sound going on 24 hours a day, that was what people got used to who lived in here. If you have a closer look, you will see that we are cheating.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, because water coming down from the top should normally flow above our heads, and that is what it used to do 50 years ago. The wood was placed on this construction here, which was slowly being moved on, and with that so-called gata, I cannot translate it. It's a kind of saw moving up and down. Thanks to this wheel here. It does not work anymore nowadays. But this thing moved up and down, but was stationed here constantly. But the wood was being transported on, and that's the way the thing functioned, worked. So they did not have electric power. They did not have any other source of energy. So they used water. And everything inside here was handmade by the local people themselves.